What's an adult confession you'd never tell your family? 1. My wife and I were swinging for a time and went to a large weekend party. At one point, we saw my parents checking in. Needless to say, we made a quick exit. 2. Sometimes, I wish my parents were divorced so that I could visit my mom without having to see my dad at the same time. 3. They think I make my living owning and running a small business that designs and sells custom plushies and apparel. My family thinks I make my money crocheting, and I do make a few bucks here and there for my yarn work, but the absolute vast majority of my income comes from the custom-made latex and kink gear I produce. 4. I draw furry smut for a living and make more than I would if I worked full-time retail. I'm my own boss, I work from home, and the clients are generally far kinder than when I work for firms as a designer. I just tell them I'm a freelance illustrator/graphic designer and that I'm working on posting my work online. 5. The real reason I couldn't afford my motorcycle anymore and had to sell it is because, in my new city, I didn't have access to that mechanic I was sleeping with before. Sorry, Dad. 6. I am broke. My family always talks about how proud they are of me for being where I am, but I haven't been to work in months, struggling with ongoing mental health issues, and I'm completely broke, struggling to buy food for myself. 7. I sold my parents' wedding rings after they divorced, 2 to pay for college applications and an eighth of sour diesel. 8. I found my parents' wills and steamed them open to see which brother gets the most. And yes, the youngest does. 9. I'm a dad. In the months before lockdown, I was in London for some work and matched with a woman on Tinder. We ended up hooking up. To be honest, I did fall for this girl, but after our time together, she went quiet for months. Then, 6 months later, during the lockdown, I got a message from her confessing she was pregnant and married. She didn't want anything from me and explained I was nothing but an unwitting donor. A few months later, I got an anonymous email with a picture of the baby, but I've heard nothing since then. 10. After trying my whole life to believe they were decent people who loved me, I realized that my family is a bunch of self-absorbed, idiotic assholes who are too afraid to improve themselves for fear of losing their ideas of who they are. 11. I like to occasionally sneak out of the house and wear a Speedo to the beach or pool to tan my legs better. I'm an American man, married to a woman for 25 years, a father, and shamed into covering my body from the waist down in as much fabric as possible when in or near the water. 12. I love my dogs more than I do some of my brothers and sisters.